What's going on, Workforce? Brian here, and today I get to share my utter excitement and my impressions of each Javelin in Anthem. Having got to play with all of them this weekend, I have to say I am coming off not only impressed, but blown away by each and every one. And where I once was, in terms of where I thought I was just going to main Storm, I am now left with just the ever-wondering question, is that going to be true? Because each Javelin itself, the Storm, the Ranger, the Colossus, the Interceptor, they each play so differently that they are distinct, and they are amazing, and they're fun, and it just kind of feels like it's going to be one of those things that outside of your gear progression and that level of investment that you're going to make into one specific Javelin, it feels like they have a Javelin for whatever you're feeling that day, and that's how unique these play. But there were definitely some challenges, and there were definitely some learning adjustments that had to be made with each one. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll break down the Javelins in their own guides here once the game gets closer to release, just so that we have more information. So, without further ado, let's talk about the 4 Javelins of Anthem. So going into this weekend, I was going to be Storm, 100%. And that's actually the first one that I unlocked. I know there was a bug that prevented a lot of people from actually diving in and playing these different Javelins, but thankfully that was known, and I, thankfully didn't actually have that problem. Later they actually opened them up for everybody, so you could unlock all the Javelins and play with them, I think in response to the fact that there was this bug. But beyond that, having unlocked Storm and coming off the Ranger, the first thing I noticed was I really was not great at Storm. They say you're a glass cannon. This is no joke. You're going to get shot out of the sky. You're going to get put down pretty easily. And as a Storm, the first thing you have to learn, the first thing that you really need to focus in on is blink. Blink is your dodge. Every Javelin has a dodge. It's mapped by default to the B button. You're going to need to blink. You can blink every 4 seconds, and it is critical to your survivability. It's critical to your success. Somebody who's going to end up mastering the Storm is going to be someone who can maintain a lock, maintain that aim while blinking, because you're going to be teleporting around, unable to be hit while doing so. And if you have to lose a lot of time because of you lost your ability to keep your focus on your enemy's target, that there's definitely going to be, a skill gap in this. I would say to start off, the Storm is impressive. It's powerful. People are calling it OP. People have called every Javelin in this game OP, and that's exactly what I want to hear. The Ranger felt OP, the Colossus felt OP, the Storm felt OP, and the Interceptor felt OP. It's just going to be a matter of your personal preference. I loved the area of effect abilities. It took a little bit of getting used to. There was definitely a learning and adjustment period coming off a Ranger into Storm. I was not good at the Storm as soon as I started playing it, and it made me question whether or not I should stick with it. It made me question, like, is this the right Javelin for me? And I would say, if you're experiencing that, or if you experience that, stick with it. You definitely, once you get the feel for how the abilities work, once you definitely get a feel for how you should dodge with blink, I think you're going to find that this is an excellent Javelin to play, and it really complements a good team composition well. Any kind of ad phase, any kind of phase in which you have your ultimate ready to go, you're going to just wreak destruction on your enemies. Plus, you can really get a good vantage point. So from a sniping perspective, but also just from being able to call out enemy targets and letting people know what's going on in the battlefield. You're going to be overly exposed. The enemies will know where you are. So you need to pay attention to your shield and your life. As far as builds go, I couldn't make any recommendations at this point, but I did say, wow, this was awesome. It's the only Javelin I went in and customized the look and feel of it as well, because that's just how much time I got to spend with it this weekend. The Storm came off as an impressive casting type, class, is I guess for lack of a better word, but that's not to knock the Ranger, and so I want to talk to you guys a little bit about Ranger before we jump into Colossus and Interceptor. The Ranger felt amazing. In fact, with my struggles originally with the Storm, I was really thinking I should just go back to Ranger and just maintain it. I love the grenades. I love the build possibilities. The Ranger has a lot of versatility. He, like when they say he's the jack of all trades, it doesn't mean he's not a master class of a Javelin. He really can bring it, and he complements any composition. He's got really good offensive, really good defensive, so he can really mix it up and play around with it. The thing that I did find interesting as a note for all the Javelins is how their jumps and movement really played in. The Storm I felt a little bit slower than that of the Ranger for me. I don't know if that's a fact. It's just a feeling that I had when playing with it. We'll have to obviously do some tests to see how it all kind of fits together. But beyond that, the Ranger's double jump felt good. The Storm's jump took, again, a little bit of adjustment. You have to hold down the jump button to get that additional kind of floating height, and you get that additional extra little height and float before you want to, click down on the right stick to go into that hover mode. Every Javelin hovers, but the Storm can hover pretty much indefinitely. This makes boss encounters and doing various things very good, but getting knocked out of the sky is a weakness. So again, the Ranger really felt good, felt really close and personal. I felt like you could put out a lot of damage. The Shock Mace, especially when flying through the air and then using your melee to really put out a lot of damage and stun your enemies, allows you to kind of follow it up with additional combos like your rockets or your grenades, and they all felt amazing. And the Super here was really good too, can put out a lot of damage on one target or a variety of targets. So the Ranger is no slouch. In fact, when I was going to the Storm, I was really debating like, man, maybe I'm a Ranger. Maybe this is what I should play as my main. Having learned the Storm, I feel like I'm gonna spend a lot of time in both. And the real surprise of all of this was how I love the Colossus. The Colossus is insane. Those heavy weapons, the autocannon, oh my goodness, the power, the sheer raw destruction of the Colossus was just mind-blowing. I cannot express it enough. I really started then because it was about the time of the end of the demo, so I got to spend some time with it. But again, I was like, man, I wish I would have played more of the Colossus from the get-go. He is a tank, so one of the things when we're playing with a bunch of new people, talking to people about the game, and they were wondering like, why are people wanting to hit the Colossus? And if you guys aren't aware, a tank is somebody who really wants to have that focus. They have that armor, they have that life, they have the tools for survivability, but he's not just a tank, he's a damage dealing tank. This guy is going to wreck, and he's got the power to bring it. He obviously feels much slower. His rocket jump feels interesting. If you guys aren't aware that when you jump and you have your double jump, it's like it really felt like they said rocket jump, and I was like, what is it? And it's like the sense where you press it and it's like, cool. I don't know how that's going to look in this video, but it does have this little slower build up to it with a little bit more momentum at the apex of the jump itself. And power, oh, and the ultimate, holy smokes, like I was really blown away by that. I actually really was like, oh god, I think I might love the Colossus. Every Javelin here always ended up being like, oh my gosh, I think I love this Javelin more than the last. So the last Javelin that you have access to is the Interceptor, and when they say that it's built for speed, they are not joking. The speed, especially with your triple jump and your multi-dodge, again, dodging, super important. Don't forget it. I think the dodging is going to be the difference between somebody who is like an intermediate player to a master player within this game, because it allows you to help avoid and get out of unnecessary damage so very easy, but it also helps you traverse the levels. The Interceptor is no exception. You got your triple jump, you've got like this epic dodge that you can just kind of get around the whole area. I felt like it was built for speed. Having gone from Interceptor to the other classes felt like super slow, like just in its base movement and its sprinting movement and its ability to get around the level, the Interceptor is something that you can go and get a good positional on. As far as builds, like, do you want to bring a sniper? I think that's going to be up to you. If you feel you don't have to build the Interceptor for sniping by any stretch of the imaginations, which was originally kind of my mindset, because the Interceptor also does a lot of melee, gets up really close and personal. So whether you want with a marksman rifle, whether you want to go with any kind of gun, I think all of these things are going to be built for being able to get in and get out of combat. And then obviously using your melees was just a ton of fun. Obviously this was the more melee built class out of all 4 Javelins. At the end of the day, this isn't a guide, this is just how I feel about each one, but you can't go wrong with whatever you pick. You're going to have a good time with every Javelin in this game. You're going to end up probably finding one that fits more your play style and that you're going to be obviously more inclined to. Perhaps you already are. Perhaps you watched our video on which Javelin you should pick, and that kind of helps solidify it with regarding the abilities that you have access to. The best thing I can do and the best thing I can advise is that when you play either the demo this coming weekend or the game when it is launched, that you go and you just kind of play around with it. Don't stress too much about your build just yet. Play around with each of the different abilities, unlock your javelins, go nuts, and figure out what works for you. The best news is that your character levels up and your javelin is all about how you equip it. And furthermore, you get 5 different loadouts that you can build for each javelin, so you can end up trying to master various different roles within a javelin itself. It's truly masterclass when it all boils down to it. So at the end of the day, I'm thrilled. I love them all. The takeaway is, I'm still feeling Storm. I still feel like I want to work and master Storm. If you're thinking about being a Storm main, blink. You gotta blink. Every 4 seconds. That's going to help be probably a key to your survivability. As far as the different abilities go, I really still got to work with it. I ended up enjoying Quickening Field far more than I thought I would. And yeah, I love the ultimate. You just feel so powerful, and I cannot wait to go back with it. So if you're trying to figure out what you want to unlock this coming weekend or what you want to main, hopefully this has been a help. I can't stress enough how satisfying each one felt, and how the fact is that everybody kept saying that their javelin was overpowered. I think all the javelins are overpowered, and we've only seen a taste of what is to come with these different builds that we can kind of play with the different drops that we get. Anyway, guys, I'd love to know your thoughts. Sound off in the comments below. What's your main? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. But for Work to Game, my name's Ryan. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you have a phenomenal day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Hey, it's me. It's been a while since I talked to you guys directly this way, but don't tell anybody. We've got even more epic content planned for this channel. The response has been incredible. We hope to see you. If you're new, hit subscribe, leave us a comment. I'd like to talk to you more about video games. I can't seem to speak my language. All right.